recording. All right. So this week is about job readiness and effective leadership. Now, let me be clear. This is not about your job readiness. This is about hiring people who are job ready. And so we may kind of blur that line between your readiness, but really the point of the night is for executive leaders to understand that they've got to hire people who are job ready. What we used to call maturity, we now refer to as readiness. If you see that in the literature, it's the same thing. Maturity and readiness is the same thing, and it's about being, getting the right people on the bus. That's what this part is about. A lot of administration, when we worked in the APTEL in semester 2, that was about making them able. This is finding people who are willing, who are job ready. So this is the other half of that two-sided coin, that willing and able paradigm. This is finding the people who are willing and have the readiness and have the skills to be employable and to, to spend your time.
Do you know we lost Christy?
Did she fall off? Her husband was working on hers.
Just want you to know.
I saw her fall off, but maybe she'll come back on.
Yeah, okay.
And we didn't get Chrissy yet, and Christy fell off, so we'll see. He was working on her technology, I think. I think they were having some kind of issue with their internet connection.
So when that quiz that you have up right now, that job readiness quiz that I took with me in mind, it's really about everybody else.
You're supposed to take it with you in mind.
Oh,
with the idea of where am I, so that when you interview people and maybe you can't give them that quiz, you'll use those same kind of questions and answers with them. Yes, I wanted you to take it to determine your own readiness.
Okay.
Because to understand the readiness, here's the conundrum. To understand the readiness of potential employees, you have to understand yours first and what your expectations are.
Okay. And
your personal dispositions, personality traits, and how that lead you to be effective or ineffective. And if you know thyself, remember we talked about that, knowing yourself. If you know yourself and your weaknesses, you can try to find people who have complementary strengths, or what you have to do to make up or find ways to negate your negatives. It's the same way when you're looking for employees. So the first part of hiring good employees is to know yourself. I did a phone reference today, and it was it's the best problem in the world for somebody like me to have, though. I got a call from a principal. The 3 finalists for a job are all 3, 2 of my current interns in 605 and 1 that finished with me this summer. I taught them all. They've been all my interns. I kept them for 5 semesters. They were, they're all great. And what I said to the principal was this: you've got to look at your team and see what you need. I can't recommend one over the other 2. They're all just really excellent people. They're all candidates. They all bring a different skill set to the table. You have to know what your team needs. And that's exactly what he was thinking, that he was hiring long-term. And I said, this is about team building. When you're hiring an assistant principal, it's about building and adding complements to the team that you already have. And so, without having to try to go through a whole lesson with him, I basically told him, here are your 3 people. This one has this strengths. This one has this one. This one has these strengths. Which of these 3 do you need? Which of these complement what you have? Which of these would fill in a gap for you? Which of these would be more of the same? Because I can't differentiate between them in terms of their quality. They're all great. You just got to pick what fits you the best, but you got to know what your staff has and what they need.
Right.
So we talked at length about that today. The good news is, I'm going to be very excited for one of them. I'm going to be very disappointed for the other 2. But the principal's got to figure out his goodness of fit. And so you taking that job readiness quiz is part of that goodness of fit. You've got to learn yourself, and you got to know your strengths, and you got to be able to assess the strengths of the people that you're working with. And then try to find people not only for your administrative team, but for teachers who fit the bill, who are ready and mature enough to be able to handle the situations that you're going to put them in. I mean, hiring teachers, you're not looking for the same thing every time. You think about, the grade level teams that you have. What are you going to need? I mean, what job readiness characteristics does this person need to have? And that quiz, if you take it, and you should take it for you, and that's the first one on the list here, it's a link to that quiz. You should take that quiz, and that should give you some idea where you are. And then that's the kind of thing that you're going to be using to try to adjudicate who should I hire for positions that I have, whether they be teacher positions or assistant principal positions. And a lot of that is covered in this last document. Now, I'm not going to spend a lot of time with you tonight. You can read this stuff. This effective leadership document, and the reason why I've got that in there, he said, Dale, we got a whole book on leadership on Hershey and Blanchard. Why in the world have you got that? I'm always looking for things that translate the theoretical into the practical. That's what, when I do research and when I'm looking for things to share with you, that's what I always look for. This is what it looks like in real life. Every document I covered with you in 602, or every document I cover in 603, and even in 605 it's all right. You read the theory in the book. How do I implement that, or how do I use that in practice? This is a wonderful document of how in practice you apply readiness and job readiness and leadership, situational leadership in real life. That's what this document is about. I know that it's not a video that shows you how, but it's close. But this is a really good document on how, in practice, you implement job readiness, maturity, situational leadership. Because the other half of situational leadership is job readiness. When I did my dissertation a million years ago, that was one of the things that was popular then. But what has happened now, in education, I use that as a reference. Some of my classmates were doing different things, but I remember back, that's my frame of reference when I was a research associate at Chapel Hill, is back in the 80s, everybody understood that there was two sides to the coin, that there was situational leadership, but then there was job readiness. I think that the guy that was big in that was Kilty, and he actually wrote a book with Hershey and Blanchard. His name was Kilty, Keilty. But somehow he kind of got left in the dust along the way, and now we just talk about Hershey and Blanchard and situational leadership. But you have to stop for a minute and remember that job readiness or maturity is the other half of that coin of situational leadership. And so that effective leadership document there is excellent. It's an excellent primer of how you apply these things in actual day-to-day school administration. This job readiness skills outline, again, is a practical approach. If it will open up for me here. I really like it. Again, this is a practical application, a job readiness, come on here, and work entry program. And it's kind of a bullet point of what the expectations would be. This is a summary, again, a practical application summary of what job readiness means. You can read all that stuff, and you can read the books and do all that, but what I like about this is a 2-pager bullets. This is what job readiness is. I found this one during my research. I love this one. I mean, you can see it's just quick and dirty. I mean, this summarizes dozens of books in a 2-page bullet point summary. I love stuff like that. This is kind of like Dale's notes for job readiness. It's too bad I didn't write it.
It is too bad you didn't write it.
Yeah. But that's what this is. That's why I have this one in here. The first one obviously is a lot more in depth. You take the quiz and you read all that material in our textbook. But this is like, you can print this out and you can look at this and say, all right, what is job readiness? Boom, there it is. It's a quick and dirty for you. So that's what tonight is about, is these things. And I've got 2 good documents here that are practical applications of the things that you were supposed to be reading about this week. If we were, if we were here together, we might spend more time on this, but I don't want to burden you with all that. You can read on your own. I do encourage you to take the job readiness quiz. Again, you take it from your own perspective, but it will help you when you're down the road when you are trying. And this is something you should download and save when you're trying to hire people. It's not a bad thing to review these things that I'm showing you tonight. Prior to doing job interviews, you should go back through these things and try to discern, what's important in the characteristics in the employees that you're trying to hire. This quiz will help you. The skills outline is, quick and dirty. And then how you put all that together is in this really good, effective leadership document. Let's see if it'll open. And this is kind of what I like about this one is it summarizes, and this is just a bachelor's thesis. This is not, this is not very high level stuff, but it is high level. Get this to go down. There it goes. Okay. And it is again, this is like a little handbook of all the things that we talked about here. And it has a little quiz in the back. I like this. And it has a case study. So again, this is something that you got some time that you might want to work through, but this is a good little pamphlet that summarizes the entire litany of Hershey and Blanchard books. And there's about a dozen of them. We just have you read one in 605, but don't think that's the only one. There's about a dozen books. This little pamphlet right here summarizes all 12 of them. That's why I like it. It's quick and easy and to the point. And if you read that, you'll get just, you might not get as much, but you'll get the major points of situational leadership and how it's applied in real world. All right. So gives some background, goes through those things. It has an implementation steps, and it has the quiz, and a really neat little pamphlet. All right. So that's that. Now, you got about 5 weeks. Let's talk with some housekeeping matters tonight. I'm keeping an eye on the clock here. I don't want to keep you too late. 605, you've got about 5 weeks till everything is due. Somewhere around the middle of March. I hear different dates from different people. I'd shoot for March 15th. Make sure that you have all 21 of your competencies in your competency folder. I think Lorraine, you're through, and Christy, you're through. Mm-hmm. I know that Christy was working on some earlier tonight. I think LaDonna might be through. She started putting hers in last night about 12:30, or this morning about 12:30, and I graded most of them as I was sitting on the side of the bed last night. And then remember, 12:30 is my cutoff. I have to sleep sometime, and I got the rest of them today. So I think LaDonna is through. I think Brandy's through. So Jason, I think you're through if you're listening. Oh, by the way, again, congratulations. Jason's one of those finalists. It's our class member in for that job at Davis Drive. So
awesome.
Good for him. And again, that job, we have 3 Gardner Webb folks for the 3 finalists, and I'm very proud of that. They overcame having to deal with me as their internship supervisor instructor. So you can overcome. So I'm hoping, one of them is going to get a job. I'm going to be happy for the one and sad for the other 2, but that's the way. But I'm sure it will be the right person that gets picked for that job. But make sure that you get all these things in, because one of the questions I was asked today is can we hire these people before the end of the semester? And I said, yes, I'll write a letter for them, and they'll be certified as soon as they graduate. So make sure there's going to be no hold up on that. So get your competencies done. If you're having evidence artifact trouble, send them to me and I'll help you with those. Let's make sure we get our evidence artifacts done. Our competencies done. Make sure you upload something in internship log in the DRF portfolio. Make sure you put something in there. They told you wrong that you didn't have to have one. You do. Make sure you've got something in OMAE. I wrote a quick and simple directions, and they put it in in task stream for you. So make sure you got an OMAE. Make sure you got your internship log done. Make sure your principal has done disposition semester 5, site supervisor disposition semester 5. The other 2 are optional. Make sure you have done all of 6 of your university dispositions and submitted them. I guess that's about it for task stream. Now, Blackboard, I'm not worried a bit about Blackboard. If you're still working in task stream doing evidence artifact work, do that first. That's much more important than anything I have for you to do. You can catch up after the deadline when you get all your task stream stuff done, so you can catch up your discussion boards and other activities at that time. If you already have your Blackboard stuff done, then you can kind of keep up as we go. Let's look at our last thing tonight. Let's look at our weekly schedule to make sure we know where we are. There it goes. So looking at the schedule, we're on week 4 tonight. You should, I don't know where you are on your task stream, but the official schedule is you should be ready to upload SIOP for discussion board peer review. But if you're not there, just keep going. Next week is the assistant principal interview, and we'll talk about that in class. Then we've got 1 more week, and then coming up March 1st, we have no class for spring break. So next week, we're going to cover the assistant principal interview. I will be here on time, and we'll cover that process. And then I'll turn you loose to work. And then April 12th, remember, that's the Easter break. So that week that we're off, March 1st, that's your week to make hay to try to get caught up on your evidence artifact work. I understand that Charlotte Mecklenburg's spring break is not until the week of the 12th. Is that correct? Mm-hmm. I hate it's that late, because that would be a great week to try to catch up your evidence artifact work, but it's well after the deadline. So I made sure we had another break prior to that, around the 1st of March. So for those of you who are trying to catch up, that would be a good week to catch up on your evidence artifact work. I did plan it that way for a reason. All right. Questions anybody has tonight?
I have one question.
Yes.
So I submitted everything in task stream.
Yes.
And then I was corresponding with Dr. Robertson.
Yes.
And he said everything is checked off except licensure.
Yes.
Is that his to do, or is that somebody else's?
That's the person that graded your work.
Okay.
And let's see. There's no way that I or he, I might know who grades your work. Let me look at the spreadsheet. I always have something secret in the back. Okay. So Mark is your internship supervisor, reviewer, evaluator. There we go. Look at that. It says that Cindy Meisenheimer is your grader.
Okay.
Here's an idea. Let me look at your task stream right quick. Let me see where you are.
Thank you.
No problem. All right. Let's go to evaluation manager and go to 15. All right. You have submitted your internship log.
Yes, I've submitted it.
All right. You need to email Dr. Robertson. You need to email Mark that he can now complete. He can go in and evaluate your internship log and complete your certification of competency. That's
Okay.
Can you see my screen?
Yes.
All right. So internship log just requires one person to evaluate, and that's him.
Okay.
So he can go in under fall 15 evaluation. He can go in and do that now if you've uploaded it. All right. From his come go to his evaluator screen and go then to fall 15 and find you and evaluate your internship log. When he's on that same page, he can do your certification of competency. Now, he needs to meet with your principal, so your principal will do certification of competency.
Okay, I didn't know that. Okay,
Yep,
excellent.
principal's got to do it, and Mark needs to meet with your principal to get that done. And at that same time, your principal needs to do disposition semester 5 under site supervisor dispositions. Now, remember, these are not couplets; these are singles. What that means is you don't have to do anything. When your site supervisor goes in, it will be there to evaluate.
Okay.
The couplets that are your university evaluations where you have to do yours first before it triggers Mark to be able to do his, doesn't work that way for site supervisor. Theirs is there all the time.
Okay.
And so he knows how to guide them in to do that. So your site supervisor, you have all your work in. So now your site supervisor can do disposition semester 5. 3 is optional if she wants to or to do it, that'll be fine. But 5 is required, and your site supervisor needs to be able to do your competency, meet with Mark and do that. Mark can do his competency. He can do your internship log now.
Okay.
And once all of that's done, you let me know when that's all done, or I'll check, and then we'll send Dr. Meisenheimer a reminder email to do your licensure. Licensure is the last thing. That says everything else in your portfolio has been done, and it's all proficient or better, and everything that is met, that has a met on it, has been done. That's the final one.
Okay.
So we're not ready for her to do that until Dr. Robertson does his internship log evaluation, certification of competency. Your principal does competency, and then your principal does disposition semester 5. Once that's done, we'll shoot an email to Dr. Meisenheimer, and you're golden.
Awesome. Thank you.
There you go. All right. So that's what we do. Tell Mark to get in touch with me if he needs any primer on how to take the site supervisor in to get to their evaluations. Your site supervisor should be able to do that. Do you think your site supervisor still has the username and password?
I'm not sure. I know Dr. Robertson gave it to her, and I emailed her asking her to complete like the dispositions, and she hasn't done that yet. So I know she's very
I'll tell you what I'll do. Now tell me not to do it if you think it's going to be a problem. I'll send her username and password if you want me to, again, as a reminder what she needs to do. You think I should do that, or just have Mark get in touch with her?
That actually might be really nice if you could do that.
I'll do that right now as we're speaking.
Thank you.
All right. How's that look?
That is awesome. Thank you so much. That's perfect.
Got any typos in that you can see? Thank you.
Not that I see. Looks great. Thank you.
All right, I think that's it. Now let me go back to the spreadsheet and find her password. That look like it?
Yep, that's it.
There we go.
Thank you. That's awesome. Thank you so much.
All right, so that will remind her to do that, and Mark can do his. You can send him an email and remind
So
him.
does he, oh, sorry. Does he need to meet with her then if she does it?
It's always good in semester 5 to go out and thank the person in person.
Gotcha.
You know, that's now I supervise all. I have written that into their handbook and have stressed that at all the trainings with them that, you know, first semester you got to go out and press the flesh and make sure that they're on board with doing it. And 5th semester you need to go out and thank them for doing it. In between you can Zoom or, you know, visit as needed. But
Gotcha.
I and Gardner Webb has agreed, and they'll pay them. I require visits in 1st and 5th because I want to thank people. They didn't get paid, and I want to at least thank them. You know, we tried to convince the people that control the money that we need a little swag. We need a cup or a shirt or a hat or something to thank principals for doing this. But we haven't got that. I'll get that done before long. I'll figure out a way to do that. But you know, it's always nice. And the reason why they said, well, you know, we're paying, you know, it costs us $150 for them to go and visit that person. Well, but you made a lot more money than that on it, and the principal didn't make any. And so it's nice to do that. So yes, if your principal doesn't feel like they need a visit or Mark, I mean, I don't have a problem with that, but I just do it as a courtesy. Thank you, you know, kind of thing. I've already visited. I've got what I call the dirty dozen. I've got 12 continuing interns in 605. I've already visited all their principals and shook their hand and thanked them. And we're only, what, 4 weeks in? But that was important to me.
Gotcha.
But I get a lot of return business that way. See, I'm back at Wingate Andrews High School and High Point now. I've got 2 more this semester that just started. But see, I keep at least one there every year. But I make it a point, you know, I've told you, Northwest Guilford, I've had one there for the last 7 years, sometimes 2 or 3 at the same time. That's how you get return business is you do a good job with your interns. But, you know, I was in Greensboro today. I'll be back at ACOP tomorrow. I've been at ACOP for 7 straight years, having interns all the time. Candace will meet me at the door tomorrow and tackle me. She's my one that just graduated. She knows I'm coming. It's that kind of thing. It's the right thing to do, but it's also good business.
Agreed. Definitely.
That's just one of those leadership functions. This is leadership class. That's just one of those leadership functions that you do. I don't get paid any extra the more students we get, so that doesn't. But it's the right thing to do. The college likes it because we get a lot of return business. I like it because it's the right thing to do.
Gotcha.
All righty. Other questions? Anything else I can fix for anybody tonight while I'm in task stream behind the curtain or in the spreadsheet or any of these things? I think I've got everything else caught up here. So I'm going to work with Luke's here tonight, and Luke and I are going to work a while. So I'll post the video. It should be up by about 9 o'clock tonight. Wasn't a lot of good stuff in it, but just wanted to see everybody and make a contact. So I will see you face to face next Wednesday at 4:45. Y'all have a good week.
That sounds great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Valerie.
Bye.
Bye-bye. All right, stop sharing.